bring in senior geopolitical strategist, Black Hawk helicopter pilot, and battalion commander Darren Gaub, and also national security analyst chairman Act for America, a New York Times best-selling author, her latest book, Rise, Brigitte Gabriel. Pleasure to see you both.
Thank you.
All right, so this is a big deal. I mean, obviously the Black Sea, and what's good, I think, in many ways, is it's a start towards a ceasefire. Now, Brigitte, it's not the ceasefire that, you know, is still being worked on behind the scenes, but it does actually improve trade for Ukraine and Russia, and there's economic advantages, and we know certainly Russia may want those as well.
And this is exactly what President Trump is capitalizing on. He is trying to show them that there is a path to prosperity and peace for their population. And after all, this is exactly what people want. The problem here is they have such a history, Ukraine and Russia, between each other, and such resentment. But at least what these peace talks are showing us is we know who is willing to move towards peace. And that's a Ukrainian who know they are in a vulnerable position. Ukraine already agreed to seize territories. Russia, on the other hand, does not care about the sacrificing the lives of their own people in order to expand power. And that's what President Trump is trying to overcome with the negotiations, with the peace proposal, trying to appear to Vladimir Putin that says, look, you're going to win something at the end. You both are going to win, and it's going to be good for you. And that's what he is banking on Putin buying his vision of this peace deal.
Right. And the talks were in Riyadh, and the Kremlin has said, Darren, they are not going to discuss outwardly, you know, exactly details of what was going on. We're looking at the video that Zelensky posted. And many say that Russia will continue the drone strikes because until they get to a table, every side is angling to come at it with as much leverage, and it does include, sadly, more destruction. But there was reports that they're not going to attack energy infrastructure, and that's pretty key as well, Darren.
It is key. It's not attacking energy infrastructure if that holds, especially as you're coming out of winter in Ukraine. You can give them at least something to gauge whether or not both sides are going to adhere to the deals that they're making in Riyadh or elsewhere, spoken or otherwise. And that's pretty critical to the process of seeing if both Putin and Zelensky will be able to make a peace deal and make it stick on both sides of the front line, because we've got well over 1 million lost in this conflict. Nobody's really moving anywhere. Both of them are going to be unhappy regardless of the final outcome if there is a peace deal struck and you have to exchange land or resources or otherwise. My concern is that because Russia holds so many of the cards right now over Ukraine, especially with Ukraine losing control over Kursk, ultimately, as it seems like they will probably sooner than later, Putin could decide that he has no reason to stop, at least purely based on the military reality on the ground.
Potentially, but it does seem like the economic sanctions he faces potentially maybe has more to gain by getting back in the global marketplace, which obviously would impact China and Iran. And speaking of Iran, Brigitte, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has asserted no nation would dare attack Iran. But President Trump is actually, you know, trying to make a deal with Iran and trying to have dialogue. Israel says they're going to keep going into Gaza. Hamas is going to be wiped out. There's living hostages. You know, what do you think Iran is looking at when they see sort of all the strategic chess pieces on the board here, knowing Putin may be getting close to the U.S. with the deal and Ukraine, and perhaps they could be in serious jeopardy and really the weakest point they've ever been?
Iran has been really hit and hurt by the latest war between Israel and Hamas, because that provoked Israel to go demolish Hezbollah in Lebanon. Obviously, with what happened in Syria now, they cut off the road. Hezbollah in Lebanon is not receiving any support from Iran. Obviously, Hamas is deteriorating and falling apart in Gaza. And so the Iranians have lost their proxy army, with the exception of the Houthis right now, who are still fighting. But But then again, look how we are bombarding the Houthis. So Iran is in a very different position than when it was just a year ago, just 6 months ago. And so Iran has no place to fight right now. They know they are weak. They know that if America attacks them, they're going to be finished. If Israel attacks them, they're going to be finished. So the Iranians right now are trying to save face. This is nothing but loud talk. President Trump knows that Iran is not going to come to the negotiation table. This is not Obama talking with the Iranians and gullible enough to actually believe that the Iranians are going to sign an agreement and stick with it. President Trump is much more savvy. He knows that he, at least publicly now on the world stage, can say, I gave Iran a chance, but Iran did not take it.
And perhaps, maybe, they will. We never know. A reshaping of the Middle East seems like it may be possible with the IDF going in Gaza. It's a pleasure to have you both, as always. Great analysis. Brigitte, Gabriel, Darren Gobb, appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Thanks,
And still